What is going on, everyone? We're going to be doing a tutorial today on Adobe After Effects. First, I want to apologize for using my Twitch little designs and stuff. This is kind of a last minute video that I'm making for you guys. But the first things that I wanted to cover is going to be the website where we're going to be using to download certain images. And then we are going to be putting those images into Adobe After Effects, and then we will be animating those images very quickly so that we can create a simple assignment in Adobe After Effects. First of all, let's go ahead and get started with that. Alright, so as you guys see right here, the website we're going to be going to, it's going to be called hdwallpapers.in. As you guys see right here. The reason why I like this website is because it's pretty straightforward. You know, if you like cars, you can kind of click on cars and look at some vehicles that you like. We need a total of 4 different images. From here, I'm just going to download images that I like. So the way that you do that is you select the image. You head over to where it says 1920 by 1080p. That's essential that we download that specific one. We just click on it and it automatically downloads over to your stuff. We can go ahead and go back to cars and go through our 240 some pages of different vehicles that they have. This one looks kind of cool too. I'll go ahead and click on that. Go ahead and download 1920 by 1080. So that's image number 2 already. Then we're going to go ahead and head over back into cars. Here we go to image over here on 3. I won't take up too much of your time. I just kind of wanted to see what they had. That one's kind of cool. Alright, we'll go ahead and download an Audi R8 1920 by 1080 and head back down here and we'll get this Audi S8 and just click download. Alright, cool. So we have our 4 images. Now these images, if you're on a Chromebook, they're going towards your downloads. If you're on a Windows computer, which you should be because you need to use my computer that we provided for you, you'll go into show in folder, and that's going to bring up your downloads. And in your downloads, you'll be able to see your images. So let me go ahead and just open this up over here. Create a new file explorer. Go ahead and go to documents. Alright, so in here for my Harmony, I'm going to go ahead and open up my classes. This is going to be digital arts and animations. And so I'm going to be putting in here a folder. I'm going to call this one for images. And in here, this is very important that you guys create something similar to this, a folder that says 4 images. And then under my new folder, I'm going to put in here files. And I'll explain what each one of these are. Working files. And finished files. There we go. So under files, I'm going to go ahead and double click and just drag my 4 images that are in my downloads folder. So those are the images that I wanted. Now that I have them there, I'm going to go back just so I can see my folders, and I'm going to open up Adobe After Effects. Just give that some time to open up. Alright, so the first thing you should see is something that looks like this, because this is the first time that I've opened Adobe After Effects. It's giving me this like area where it's telling me if I want to, learn some tips and stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and close that for now. We'll go ahead and create a new project. When you create a new project, the first thing you want to do is you want to head over to File, and you want to go to Save and Save As. So from here, what I'm going to do is head over to my documents, going to 2020 school year classes 11th grade. And right here where I put my 4 images folder, I'm going to go into my working files. And again, I'll explain what this is. And I'll go ahead and put my actual working file. I'll name this one 4 images. Save. Now once I have my stuff here, I can double click in here to import stuff. I can go to file and I can go to import and import file or multiple files. I'll go ahead and do import multiple files. Head over to downloads, 2020, classes, 11th grade, 4 images, files, and select my 4 images that I want. Click import. So those are the ones that I currently wanted, the 4 images that I needed. So now what we need to do is create a composition. So this composition, I'm going to go ahead and create a new composition by clicking this button. You can also click this one or right click and put new composition. There's 3 different ways, whichever one you prefer. New composition. This is going to be the main thing. This is where we start creating our actual work. Again, we have to title this. So 4 images. The preset right here, we want it to be at HD TV 1080 with 24 frames. That's what the 24 stands for. 1920 by 1080. And right here under duration, we're going to switch this over to 30 seconds. That is milliseconds, seconds, minutes, and then hours. So we want 30 seconds right there. And then for the background color, we can just leave it as black. That's fine. And just click OK. So what this created is we now have here a little folder that says 4 images, and this is where we will be putting this specific images, right? So in here, we're going to go ahead and drag our first image, and we'll be able to see that it fits here entirely, very perfect. When we add the next image and the next one and the next one, you notice that we now have what are called layers. And each one of these lines right here represents the amount of time that a certain image is going to be shown for. For example, if I were to bring this over to the 8-second mark, this one over to the 4, I can now move my timeline, and as it hits the 4 seconds, it switches. 8 seconds, it switches again. But I want to animate these images so that each one of these images does something. And so we have a couple of different things that we can work with. When we open up these little tabs right here, you'll notice that it says transform. When you open up the transform tool, you now have anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity. We're going to be working with these 4, and we're going to want to do one of each for each image, right? So for position, it's fairly simple. I want to make sure that your timer is always where you want your effect to start. For example, if I were to just forget about this and do this and say, oh, okay, I wanted to like go here and then I wanted to move out of the frame, then notice that for 8 seconds, almost 11 seconds, nothing happens to this picture, not until it comes over here. And so that can create a problem. By the way, if you do make a mistake, you could always do Control-Z on your keyboard, and that will go back in time. So in order for me to do this correctly, I want the picture to pop into the frame, right? So I'm going to go over to where it says 0 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and click on my stopwatch right here. That is going to give me what is called a keyframe on my file. And that keyframe is now stating that at this point in time, whatever the image is doing, that's what it's going to be doing. So at the moment, it's just there. So if I were to move this, nothing is happening. If I were to move my image out of the way, nothing is happening because we haven't added a point B to the frame. It can be a little bit confusing, I know, but just bear with me. So what we want to do here is we want to make sure that the image is out of the frame. It doesn't matter where you add it. I'm going to use this little 50% to kind of go to 25 so I can see a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and put it somewhere there. Now I'm going to head over to where it says 4 seconds. You can also type it right here, 400. Oops. By the way, what I just did, I double clicked, I pressed enter twice, and it opened up a new layer. And sometimes the students get freaked out because they think they like erased everything in their artwork. All you did was you created a new tab. So if this does happen to you, where you see these little purple marks with these colors down here, it just means you opened a new layer. Let's go ahead and close it, and you can go back to where you were at. Again, I'm going to put here 400 for 4 seconds. And now at the 4-second mark, that's when I want this image to kind of pop in here. I want to be careful. I want to make sure that it sits properly in the frame. You can always head over to maybe 33 so you can kind of double check to make sure that's correct. Or you could always just right click, go to transform, and then you can put fit to the comp, and that will adjust it so that it fits perfectly. So now when I go to 0 seconds and I press play, by the way, in order to press play, you can press spacebar on your computer. There you go, perfect. So the image takes 4 seconds for it to move from one point to the other. Now what I wanted to do is I want to say, hey, well, for another 2 seconds, I want you to stay still and I don't want you to do anything, right? So we're at 4. Let's go ahead to go over to 6 seconds. So I'll put 600 and we'll just add another keyframe right here where it says add or remove keyframes at the current time. Go ahead and press that one, and that will add a current keyframe for us. That will allow us to kind of add a second part. So now what we're pretty much saying is, hey, I want you to move, and for 2 seconds, I want you to stay still and don't do absolutely anything. But after 2 seconds, at the 8-second mark, so let's go ahead and type 800. I want you to just kind of leave again off to the side. So let's see what that looks like. We have the image kind of rolls in slowly. It stays there for a while, and then it leaves. Perfect. That is how you use position. And so now that we have position created and done, we now want to do scale, which is next. So we'll go ahead and close the little tabs and close this one. We can also click here to change the color, and we'll put this to green because it's done. Now we're going to work with this next one, right? And so for this next one, we kind of want the pictures to start right around here when this image is kind of moving away. We want this one to start. So we're going to go ahead and open our positions, and we're going to go to scale. So we'll go ahead and go right around here when this image is there. We're going to go ahead and do, well, I'll just tell you right here, type 600, right? And we're going to go to scale. And you see this numbers right here. This is telling you how big the image is. By the way, if you press the little eyeballs, you can hide the layers. So I'm going to hide the layer that's at the very top because I don't want to see it. I currently only want to work on this one. I'll hide the other ones as well so that they don't show up. So I only want to work with this particular one. And so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and put 0 right here. I don't want it to show up at all. I want just pure blackness. Now around 8 seconds is when the other one completely disappears. So I'm going to put 800 right here. And then at 800, I'm going to set this back to 100%. That's going to make the image pop up. So notice what's happening here. And we have an image. Perfect. I like that. Now from 800 to 1000, again, we're going to tell it, just stay there, bro. Don't do anything. So 10 seconds. And click. Just stay there, bro, for another 2 seconds. Don't do anything. Just chill, relax, hang out. That's cool. And then at 12 seconds, I want you to disappear again. Let's go ahead and put it back to 0. Perfect. So now this one, you notice it shows up. It stays there, and then it goes away. And that's cool, because now if we put this one here, we'll notice that, hey, there was nothing. This image pops up. The image shows there for a little while. It goes away, and a new one pops up. And then it goes away. So right around the time that this one's going away, around 10 seconds, We're going to go ahead and close this one. And now we're going to work with our third image, which is going to be rotation. For rotation, we're going to do a mix, so we can do position or we can do scale. So all that means is that we're going to click on the stopwatch for rotation, but we're also going to click on the stopwatch for scale. We're going to set scale to 0. And rotation at the moment doesn't really matter because rotation rotates and you need a second keyframe in order for the rotation to happen. We're going to head over to 12 now, right around there. And we're going to go ahead and put the scale back to 100. But right here, these degrees, this allows the image to actually turn and to do stuff. Sorry, the reason why we can't see the image currently is because I have the eyeball turned off. So I'm going to turn the eyeball on and I'm going to remove those so that they don't get in the way. Notice here for rotation, we have this part that will rotate the image, right? And you can do whatever you want, however you want. But notice once I did a full rotation, this turned to a number 1. So if I go back to 0, nothing happens. The image just pops up, right? However, if I put a 1, okay, this is a good part because I made a small mistake and I want to show you guys. These little guys right here, this little mountain looking things, that's a zoom in and a zoom out. If I zoom in, notice that I accidentally added 2 keyframes due to the fact that I didn't put it at 12 exactly. I put it at 1201. So that could cause a problem if you were to do that. It's very easy to select a keyframe. Just press delete on your keyboard and that will delete it. You can use these little arrows right here to move between keyframes. And right here, I'm going to put a 1, meaning that by the time it reaches 12, I want it to actually be visible, like upright, but I wanted to do a full rotation as it's coming up. Perfect. So now we're going to head over into 14 seconds. We're just going to tell it, hey, add a keyframe. I don't want you to move for another 2 seconds. Just stay still. At 16 seconds, though, we're going to go here. And we're going to say, okay, I want you to go back to 0. Actually, let's Control Z. We'll do position. Why not? We'll put position instead of keyframe. The scale will stay the same, but the position will now move out here. Actually, in order to be able to do this, I have to head back into 14 seconds and add a keyframe. I know this is a little bit confusing. If you want to try this, go ahead, but if you don't, it's fine. You can just continue with scale. But for position, I'm adding a keyframe right here so that in this exact point, we're pretty much setting it, I want you to be here. When I come back to this point, however, on this one, we now tell it to move, and you notice that you get those little lines that are telling it that it's moving. And when we get to rotation, we'll go back to 0, and so it'll now rotate in the opposite direction and leave the frame. Pretty cool. All right, so now we're at 16. I know this one might have been a little bit tough, but don't worry, we're almost done. Now we go to the last one, which is opacity. We're going to head right here to opacity, and we'll go over to the 16 mark right here. Actually, let's go to around 15, right around there, and we'll click opacity on this one. Notice that for opacity, you can see the image, but when you put this at 0, you can't see the image. So opacity just pretty much hides and reshows a specific image depending on the percentage. So from here, we'll go over to around 1650. That didn't work. 1650. Oh, I see. It's because it's at 24. So 1624. There we go. Perfect. Or 17. That's exactly where. And right here, we're just going to put 100. So now this image shows. So this is how it looks like. It's just pretty much showing up. We'll put from 17, we'll go to 19. and just put another keyframe, and then we'll get over to 25. Sorry, maybe 22, and just put it back to 0. So now we're going to turn on all the eyeballs, and we're going to go to the very beginning so we can see what we've created. We have the first image that pops up. It stays there for a little while. It leaves. The other one shows up. It leaves. The other one rotates in and then rotates out. This one fades in and then it fades out. And that, everyone, is using keyframes and using the 4 transform tools that are available in Adobe After Effects. Now, once you're finished with this project, you want to make sure that you go to File and Save. And once you're completely done and you want to turn it into me, you have to go to Composition, Add to Media Encoder. That's going to open up the actual program that allows you to make this into a video. So let's go ahead and wait for that to finish up. And right here in this little area where it currently says add items to the queue, you'll wait until something like this pops up. You want to make sure that that says H.264. If it doesn't, just go ahead and click on it. And just wait for that to finish happening. And then you just want to make sure that you switch it to H.264 just in case. The other thing you want to do is that this one has to say match source high bitrate. Then you can go over here and you click 4 images. Make sure that you go back to your 4 images folder and go to where it says finished files and just click there save, and then you just click play, and that will export the video. Perfect. And then you can close that out. Now when you go into your folders for images, you can go to your finished and you will see your video there. And that's the video that you will submit to me once you're done. If you guys have questions while working on this assignment, please let me know. But try to rewatch the video because I won't be around all the time since we are in an online setting. But other than that, hope you guys enjoy this little project. Have fun with it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.